Good morning. First, if I could ask y'all to silence your cell phones, that would be much appreciated. Good morning. My name is Marshall Mills, and I'm President and CEO of Weitzman, and we're so glad you're here this morning. Today, we got some exciting news in regards to our annual forecast and survey. When I came in this morning, got a little bit of bad news, and that is the two-story screen that we have blew a circuit. So fortunately, they were able to get half of the screen to work. So you'll see the full slides and nothing like prime time. In any event, we would not be here without the support of our friends, but more importantly, our clients. 2020 marked the beginning of a new decade, and we're so glad you're here this morning. It also marks our 30th year to be in business. And while we honor the past, we are looking towards the future. Later this month, we will move into our new corporate offices. Behind me is a rendering of what our lobby at 3102 Maple will look like. We'll be moving in about a couple weeks or so. I want to especially recognize some key people who made this happen. Weldon Simons, Michelle Kaplan, Michael Myers, and Chaz Fisher. Thanks for letting me share this with you this morning. We'll start today's program with Bob Young, our Executive Managing Director. Bob will cover the highlights of our annual retail forecast. We'll then hear an insightful conversation between Herb Weitzman, our Executive Chairman, and JP Suarez, International Chief Administration Officer with Walmart. I know JP will share some of their secrets for success. Right, JP? Thank you. Before I bring on Bob, though, I want to personally thank all of our many professionals who worked tirelessly to make today's program possible. And now I'd like to welcome Bob Young.
Thank you, Marshall, and thanks everyone for being here. We are here today to share the results of our DFW survey and forecast. We will cover some key metrics such as occupancy, construction, net leasing, and just importantly, we will also tell you the why behind the numbers. To start, let's talk about 5 lessons, that we learned in 2019. Number 1, our strong occupancy was not a fluke. We are now in the 7th year of near record occupancy in DFW. Number 2, this is the most geographically balanced retail market we've seen in our history. Almost every single one of our submarkets is healthy. And you will soon see that information. Number 3, the low construction market is here to stay for the foreseeable future. While we lead the market in job growth, population growth, and major corporate relocations, we still see low construction, and we'll explain that momentarily. Number 4, restaurants are the MVP. They're the most valuable player of retail leasings. We have 4,700 restaurants in our database, and that number continues to grow. Running close behind is fitness, health, beauty, and services. And number 5, the convergence of physical and digital retail is paying off. In Frisco, for example, we work with a steak and ramen restaurant struggling to attract business in a saturated market. Using targeted digital tactics, including search and social, we were able to see the restaurant's sales rise 50% in just 7 months. So first, let's talk about our methodology for our survey. We work with a proprietary database that we have built and curated over many, many years. This report, all Weitzman professionals in DFW survey every single DFW shopping center, 25,000 square feet and greater. As of year-end 2019, 1,427 shopping centers totaling 200.5 million square feet was surveyed. This is the first time, by the way, in our DFW market history that we've reached the 200 million square foot mark. So let's go to our key survey items. We ended 2019 with our market's highest occupancy in 38 years, 93%. This is the highest occupancy our market has recorded since 1981, when it was 94.8%. That's very healthy occupancy for sure, but it would look even better without the hit that we had with massive Sears stores closing, which hit Class A retail like Stonebriar or Northeast Mall. But clearly, we are on a healthy streak. DFW has reported occupancy above 90% since 2013. That's 7 years of back-to-back stability and strength. And all of our indicators point that 2020 will be the 8th year in a row. Now, we operate in and survey all the major markets in Texas. And like DFW, our other cities report near record occupancy as well. Back to DFW, in the past, we've traditionally seen a bifurcated market, meaning we see booming areas in Collin County or North Fort Worth where the occupancy was 95%, while at the same time, we'd see some long-established urban markets with limited growth and outmodeled retail, and they were lucky to break 85%. But now, our retail stability is shared throughout the entire DF market. To explain, we divide the Metroplex into 42 submarkets. In 2019, a record 36 submarkets reported strong occupancy above 90%. A decade ago, only 17 of those submarkets reported that occupancy level or exceeded. Today, DFW leads the country in new multifamily units with nearly 140,000 since 2010. That market-wide residential growth has created retail demand and boosted existing centers. And DFW current occupancy strength is also reflected in all the categories that we track. For the first time in our 45 years history on our survey, every single category reports occupancy above 90%. Malls climbed to 90.6% with a number of new anchor leases, but it's noteworthy, none of those were traditional mall users. Malls topped the country occupancy back in the 80s when the department store held 10% of all U.S. retail sales. By comparison, that is the share that e-commerce holds today. E-commerce peeled off massive amounts of sales from department stores, as anything that you could get there, you could get online. As a result, department stores today account for just over 1% of all U.S. retail sales. The disruption of the department store category means that malls today are leasing to a new tranche of anchors like fitness, medical, grocery, and the like. Malls never used to accept those uses such as fitness or medical. Now they welcome them. They'll do whatever they can do to drive daily traffic. This past year proved that malls are good real estate, just not necessarily good retail real estate. In 2019, vacant department stores were backfilled by everything from fitness to medical. Even struggling Redbird Mall in Dallas saw a boost in positive leasing this year. And for the second time in our survey history, neighborhood centers reported occupancy above 90%. Why the improvement for these smaller strip centers? Built-out submarkets have seen new growth in residents and incomes, and that's thanks in part to the multifamily comment I made earlier, but the new residential drives retail demand, and owners of existing real estate are renovating older centers. We are, at Weitzman, for example, renovating 14 properties with a program we call Lifestyling the Strip Center. We add pedestrian-friendly elements like green spaces, patios, seating areas, arbors, and the like. That's what it takes to attract small shop tenants. The next category that we track is power centers with an occupancy of 95.1%. The category reported nearly 600,000 square feet of net new leasing, more than any other category. When Toys R Us failed in 2018 and left 700,000 square feet vacant in the market, we predicted that would be short-lived. that proved to be the case, as you can see. Now let's talk about mixed-use retail. We survey developments with 25,000 square feet or greater of retail, as well as residential, office, or other components in the mixed-use category. That inventory mixed-use retail is currently at 94% occupied. The mixed-use category benefits from tenant mixes that are experiential through heavy concentrations of restaurants and entertainment uses. This is our survey's smallest category with only 9.2 million square feet of retail space. Mixed use requires high density and high incomes. That's why these projects are concentrated in areas like Uptown, Downtown Dallas, West Plano, and urban Fort Worth. Our last category, community centers, totals nearly 76 million square feet of retail space. It's our largest in terms of GLA. Today, community centers report occupancy right at 94%. Occupancy is high in this category thanks to net leasing of 482,000 square feet. That was in 2019. Our market saw only a handful of new grocery-anchored community retail last year, and the mixed-use category saw one new store in downtown at the Union. Today, grocers are growing market share and improving sales through remodeling stores. One of the key remodels is the Tom Thumb in Arlington at Fielder Plaza. This was more than a remodel. This was what was required to keep the store open. But innovative location intelligence showed how the store could attract new customers from nearby high-end neighborhoods. 20 years ago, we couldn't really understand the customer like this, but now we have psychographic and location intelligence. This ability to better understand the customer has re-energized retail. With the support of the City of Arlington, the Fielder Plaza renovation was completed last fall, and a complete digital package was rolled out at the same time, and as a result, sales have climbed. Our number one grocer in DFW, Walmart, saw total market share jump last year from 27.4% to 28.6%, thanks in part to store remodeling. These remodels incorporated key customer amenities like curbside and grocery pickup and delivery. From the shopper's perspective, these innovations are designed to make the grocery trip virtually as convenient as a drive-through. Community centers also benefit from the tenant mix transition from soft goods to categories like restaurants. Restaurants like community retail because they could benefit Monday through Thursday, driven by the traffic for the grocer. Today's large community centers can have as many as 10 restaurants compared to 2 only a decade ago. In 2019, the community category reported more than 1,700 restaurants. Just 5 years ago, that total was 1,100. Today, 481 community centers in our database report an average of 4 restaurants per property. Those restaurants drive a lot of traffic. They assist in cross-selling and sales. That's why we call them our leasing MVPs. So far, we've shared some numbers, and all of them are up, which is a good thing. But one number is down, and really, it's a good thing as well. I'm talking about construction. During 2019, despite our tight retail market in the midst of the country's best economy, we actually saw a decline in new space. New and expanded retail centers totaled only 1.8 million square feet compared to 3.5 in 2018. The decline reflects a trend that's noteworthy: limited anchor expansions, existing project renovations and developments, diligent lending standards, and the rise of construction cost, and a trend line towards smaller retail projects. The smaller center dynamic is reflected in our numbers. In 2019, the average size for a new retail project was 64,600 square feet. A decade earlier, the average new center was almost twice as large at 124,300 square feet. This measured construction prevents the overbuilding that DFW was once known for. But the construction slowdown also reflects the market's success at reshaping and repurposing existing retail. Construction is now more than bricks and sticks. It's a tracking metric on how well the market is performing. And during the past decades, we've seen the market self-regulate. That's pretty key for the DFW market. To show you how dramatic the construction slowdown has been further, look at the decade that just ended compared to the previous decade. From 2000 to 2009, DFW added a total of 47 million square feet of new retail space. For the decade 2010 to 2019, the market added 22.6 million square feet. Not only is construction down, but so is GLA per capita. Today, the GLA, in 2009, and all of us in this room know this, we were known as one of the most over-retailed markets in the country with a per capita GLA of 28 square feet. Today, the GLA has dropped to 26.7 per capita, which is more in line with national averages. This low construction environment means that a lot of retail demand is driven to existing centers. That's a big reason why net new leasing absorbed more than 1.8 million square foot last year. So let's close and look at a forecast for 2020. Here are 5 things that we expect to see in the upcoming year. Number 1, retail occupancy in DFW will finally reach 95%. The disruption of retail is basically over, and now our retailers have transitioned to what we call customer, convenience, and convergence. That means the customer is really commanding what retailers do. They want convenience, and the retailers respond seamlessly by blending the physical and the digital together. And we'll hear more about that in Herb's conversation with JP. Number 2, 2020 will be another year of low construction. With today's land and construction cost, rents would have to be way above market to justify new space, which is really a non-starter for most retailers. 3, vacancy equals opportunity. In a market like ours, with low construction and high occupancy, vacant space today is seen as an opportunity. Today, if a store fails, it means the customer has rejected the concept. But vacancy in a well-located shopping center where the landlord has the opportunity to re-merchandise and re-energize the center, retail has evolved thanks to location and customer intelligence. And today, retail real estate pros also are customer experts. The customer tells us what will work, and digital and analytics give them the tools to listen. Number 4, as to 2020, we will see a bifurcated investment market. The value of existing small shop retail will continue to rise because that's where the leasing demand is. But even fully leased power centers at strong intersections see cap rates go up, not down, due to perceived risk. Why? The fear in the investment market is that if the tenant goes vacant, it will be difficult and costly to release at market rates. And 5, finally, digital marketing rules. The customer today literally has retail future in their hands. Smartphones have reached their tipping point, accounting for half or more of all purchase decisions. Every online search implies intent, and digital puts our centers and our retailers at the forefront of search results. So if your center and its retailers are winning at search, they are winning the customers. And that's what retail is today. Now, if you'd please turn your attention for a short video, and thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us this morning. I'm Michelle Kaplan, Executive Vice President with Weitzman. As you just saw, the retail business is evolving in so many ways. We have offered insight into our changing business over the years by hosting many of the top leaders in retail. But few can offer insight into the future of our business like today's guest, JP Suarez of Walmart. Walmart is succeeding on so many levels today, thanks to an unmatched focus on the customer. JP joined Walmart in 2004 and has held many leadership positions with Walmart International and Sam's Club. He led the realty division for Walmart in the U.S. for 5 years. Under JP's leadership, he and his team executed a robust remodel program, added nearly 1,000 new stores to the Walmart portfolio, and rolled out Walmart's online grocery service, creating a digital platform to make managing their U.S. business easier and cost-effective. And starting this month, JP begins his new role as Executive Vice President, Chief Administration Officer, and Regional CEO of Walmart International. So we are honored that he's taken the time today to travel to Dallas and speak with us. Our Executive Chairman, Herb Weitzman, will speak with JP on the theme of customer, convenience, convergence. It promises to be a great conversation. Now a big Weitzman welcome to Herb and JP.
I guess we have these turned on.
I think so.
Okay, good.
All right. Whew.
Well, welcome everybody. I think you're in for a real treat. JP is an exceptional person, and someone said earlier, I don't know how you could have done so much and look so young, and in such a short period. Of course, you know, Walmart is the greatest, retail company in the world. And every time I talk to JP, I think I've got the correct number, but I think sales are worldwide about $550 billion.
Yeah, just a little bit shy of that, but we're getting there.
Right around there. And JP is now head of the 125 billion, which we don't even know about, is outside of the United States.
That's
is
right.
That correct?
That's correct.
And JP is now over Mass Mart, regional president, which covers Chile, Argentina.
Mass Mart, and then the administrative responsibilities means I get to do everything else that the boss doesn't want to do.
Exactly. So and he's going from here to a leadership seminar just to see with the top heads, the CEO of the company and other regional CEOs, small group to actually challenge, themselves as to internationally, are they doing everything that they possibly can do, and what do they need to be thinking about for the future? So, it's my pleasure to have you here with us, and I think we're lucky to have a company like Walmart in our midst. I think I told JP, I said, JP, you know more about DFW and North Texas than anyone here. With 151 stores in this particular market, and many of them you picked yourself, locations, we're grateful that you're here and you're dominant. With our theme today, customer convenience and convergence. You and I discussed the key, this key to, Walmart seamless experience with the customer. Mm-hmm. And I'd like to talk about these three items, which y'all have focused on so greatly, what it means to you, and how does it guide Walmart's approach to retailing for the future?
Mm-hmm. So, I think those three are the important things when we think about retail for the future, whether it's brick and mortar or whether it's online retail. It always starts with the customer, right? Mm-hmm. And really what the customer is telling us is that she wants the ability to choose how she wants to shop, where she wants to shop, and when she wants to shop. And when they say that they're in control, you have to understand that you got to make it easy for them, because the biggest disruptor is obviously online, that we all know that. But what makes online so powerful is that it is so easy. And so how do you create that experience for a store while still delivering a great retail experience for a store, online, whatever the customer wants? And that's what convergence is all about. It's bringing that experience together for everybody. And what I like to say, and we can go to the slide that has the Fantastic Four on it. What I like to say is that, you know, people talk about the retail apocalypse, and Bob, I think you said, oh, it's over. It might be over. You know, there might not be that many more store closings. What I can tell you is that, in my opinion, good retail is going to go away fast. Great retail is here for a while. But in order to be great at retail, you got to be great at everything. You can't just be good enough anymore. Walmart, when we opened the Supercenter, we used to say that, you know, we were great on price, great on assortment, and good enough on everything else. Like, you have to wait in a line, and it was a little bit ugly store, and maybe it was a little bit disheveled. Maybe the associates weren't so nice. But that was good enough because it was a great price, a great assortment, and it was just great at everything. It's no longer good enough. Good enough is not good enough in retail anymore. You got to be great. And you got to be great even before you get to the store. So when you think about, you know, the customer experience, even before they get to the store, when they're online, can they find items? Do they have the right, item descriptions, the right photograph? Is the online experience great? And then when I come in the store, can I find the item that I want to shop? Is it in stock? When I'm done shopping, is the quality great? When I'm done shopping, can I get out fast? Is the return process, if I have to return something, is it easy? You're going to make me wait on a long, long line. All of those things you've got to be great at, and that's just the price of admission. And then you've got to do these, in my view, you've got to do these four things in order to be great at brick and mortar retail or online retail. Is you got to create great experiences, you got to make it frictionless like I just was talking about, you've got to create that experience that's a social environment, and you've got to curate your assortment. One of the big myths out there is that merchandising doesn't matter anymore, and people are wrong about that. Merchandising matters more than ever. To be a great merchant, to put great items in front of the customer at the right time and the right customers matters more than ever, because I actually don't want an assortment of 4 million white t-shirts to choose from. I want the best ones. I want the best ones on price or quality or feel or size, whatever my preference is. But I want you, retailer, to help me figure out what's the right curated assortment for me. I want you to personalize it. I want you to make it a great value. But I want you to do all of those things for me. And then I get to decide, am I going to do it in the store? Am I going to do it online? I'm going to ask you to deliver it to my home. And that, to me, is where I see this convergence happening around, the customer and convenience and experience. And if you do all those things, which ain't easy, I think you got a shot to stick around for quite a long time.
Well, with your physical stores, they're the workhorse for the whole corporation. Indeed. And where a lot of companies edge out into other businesses. You start off in soft goods, and then to back into one of the most competitive retailing categories that there is, and Dallas is the hotbed of that, the most competitive grocery market probably in the country. And y'all have made so much progress in that particular area, and it's driving the growth. How did that all come about? In other words, you just continue to improve the ease of shopping, and you're improving so many areas in your presentation with the groceries, and then you've really gotten great in fresh produce.
Yeah.
Talk to us about how that all has developed. I mean, I think that the depth of your digital and research. You know more about a customer than anybody in the U.S. government.
We do know that much. I know a lot. So a couple of things. Let me first, obviously give credit to our CEO, Greg Ferran. When Greg Ferran came over to the U.S. 5 years ago, he looked at our stores and said, they're not good enough. And of course, we're all very defensive. And no, they're great. You don't understand. And he said, no, they're simply not good enough. you've got to get better. And you've got to get better in JP, the way you remodel them, JP, the way you build them, JP, the way you fix them, but he just basically, you got to get better in everything that you're doing with these stores because they're not good enough. And then our associates weren't trained properly. And we didn't have enough investment in our associates and the skills that they needed to take care of customers. And we didn't have enough investment in our supply chain, and we were out of stock way too much, and our on-shelf availability was horrible. And we didn't have the best relationships with our supplier partners. And Greg said, if we're going to survive, we've got to get better, and we've got to be unafraid to tell ourselves that we're not really very good at some of these things, even if we were a $400 billion company at the time. And he really pushed us to say, good enough is not good enough anymore. And we want it to be great. One of the areas that we wanted to be great at was fresh. And we needed to get a whole lot better and get a whole lot more credibility with our customers when it came to fresh if we were going to win, because fresh is the traffic driver. Fresh is the future of retail in my view. You've got to be fresh led if you're going to survive in retail going forward. I don't know how department stores are going to make it. They might, but it's fresh or retail or restaurants. Those are the things that are going to be driving people into stores. And Greg said we had to get better at it, and so we did. And we embarked on a journey to get better in fresh and to change the customer perception of fresh and to change the actual quality of what we did inside the store. And it was only after we did that stuff did Greg say, now you can start working on convenience, and now you can start changing the way the customer picks up and shops, because it's not going to do me any good to give the customer rotten strawberries. I've got to have great strawberries that are fresh, that the customer knows is going to last for more than a day, which is sometimes what would happen when you'd buy strawberries 5 years ago from Walmart, is they'd spoil right away because they were sitting in our warehouse for 22 days before they actually made it to the store. And instead he said, we're going to fix that, and then we're going to do this convenience. And when we started unlocking that pickup, it started with GM. I'll tell you, Herb, I could go on here forever, but when we started with pickup in our stores, we thought of, I'd love to tell you we had this brilliant plan that we knew this was going to be the game changer for retail. And we started pickup, and we'd stick it in the back of the store. We would ask the customer to walk by the very product they've asked us to pick and go to the back of the store and then wait for somebody to come get it. After our first year of pickup, we had an abandon rate. So let me just define that. We had customers who paid online. We told them it was in the store. They came to the store to go get it, and they abandoned the experience 15% of the time, because they got so frustrated waiting for us to come get the item for them that, by the way, they're standing there, and there it is over there. Why am I doing this? So they left 15% of the time. So think about that. 15% of the baskets at the front of the shop, people walk up and then just didn't buy. It's crazy. We had an average wait time of 22 minutes when we started pickup. 22 minutes. And we didn't realize that we were onto something. And then we started realizing that's not good enough. And today our wait time when you use a pickup tower, which we have pickup towers in 1,700 stores if you haven't seen them, is 11 seconds. 11 seconds. That's amazing. You can go order something online. It's in the store. It's a pickup tower that's automated. It tells you that your product is waiting, and it's in the tower. And you walk up with a little code, little QR code, and you scan it, and the machine spits it out. It's like an ATM for product. And it gives you your product. It's actually a little bit annoying because when I use it, it happens too fast. I want people to see that? Look at, isn't that great? And it happens so fast, you leave. It's amazing. That's what convenience is. And then what we're finding and what we're learning in this journey around convergence is that when we make it easy to do pickup in the store, customers come in and shop. And when our fresh is great, they'll come in and say, listen, order the stuff that I don't really need to pick up in the store, put it in the tower, and then I'll go shop fresh. And I'll go be inspired by your produce. I'll go be inspired by what may be new and different and innovative in your store. And I'll do both. And then When I got a sick kid and I actually don't want to go in the store, I want you to bring it out to me curbside. And when you bring it out to me curbside, you're going to put it in the back of my car, and I don't even have to worry about getting out of my car. And we've now got curbside pickup in 3,200 locations. It's a massive, massive business and growth for us. Customers love it. We're expanding share of wallet. We're expanding share of market, like you talked about before here in Dallas, Fort Worth. A lot of that is because we're not building that many new stores. A lot of that is because our existing stores are performing a lot better. All of that is because we've created this experience that the customer likes and is easy. And if it's easy, they shop.
Well, you know, one thing that's just amazing to me is with Walmart, with its size, it's got this unbelievable collaborative approach with their leadership. And everybody in the corporation buys in. You work hard, you are a part of the team, or else you don't
a customer.
fit. Yeah, you're a customer. And with some of these strategies and initiatives that you've taken, it seems like you've really executed them so fast. In other words, where you go with the curbside and you're in so many stores so fast, I mean, that takes an awful lot of coordination.
Yeah.
How do you get that done? I mean, I know your fingerprints all over that.
Yeah, we we worked a lot of Saturdays to get all of those stores approved and designed properly, and it is great to work on a team that's committed to this, and we knew we were working on the right things in the right sequence. And just on curbside, we started, I'll never forget, the first time we looked at 50 stores that we're going to do curbside or grocery home shopping in our stores. And we'd look at the layouts, we'd look at the space, we'd look at where the customer journey was. We'd map out how our associates would take the product from the back room to the customer and time it and make sure that that was going to be okay. And the way we did it, Herb, is we did it store by store. We looked at every single store, and we didn't just say, yeah, do it in the Plano store. We said, let's map it out. Let's evaluate it. Let's make sure it's going to be a good experience for the customer. And if we made one mistake, and we made more than one mistake, but one mistake that we made is we underestimated the size of this business. We completely misgauged how popular grocery home shopping was going to be. And so much of what we're doing today is going back and adding capacity. We have a store it's in Rogers, Arkansas, so everything is different there because that's our home territory. We have a store that's doing over 1,200 orders a week on grocery home shopping there, and it's a $100+ million supercenter to boot. It's gotten so busy that we've actually built a automated storage area. So we will pick the orders, stick them in this automated storage retrieval, and then it'll go vertical because we don't have any more floor space. So we're going vertical to store customer orders, and then the customer comes in and we just pull the order for them and drop it in the back of their car. This thing is growing like crazy. There's a store in Oklahoma that's our second busiest store, and it doesn't make sense, and it's unbelievably busy for grocery home shopping, and customers love it everywhere, absolutely everywhere, and we're winning not just more customers, but more share of wallet from our existing customers.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. What JP is saying is that their volume's growing. They've grown, from you just how you've grown at the brick and mortar level, but the store is the base.
Great.
That's your secret.
Yeah, it's doing great.
That's your magic secret.
We grew online 41%, which is largely driven by grocery home shopping. Our Q3, we grew at a 3.2 comp. 2-year stack is a 6.6 comp. On a fairly sizable base. And international, we grew at a 4.2 comp. So we've got some comp momentum right now, and it's driven because those things are coming together. People are coming into the stores. Like I said, the retail apocalypse, traffic is up. So people will come in if you make it easy, if you make those investments, if you make it an experience that they enjoy, because otherwise they'll go online.
Yeah. Well, the online experience in the delivery at the home. Let's talk about that because is that as important as the curbside, or do you think the curbside where people order, come by and pick it up, and they're on their way home with fresh groceries. You have them all, and I know
We do.
costs are a lot greater on the delivery.
Yeah.
So how's that coming?
So just to quickly tell you, what we're piloting in 2 markets is the ability for customers to sign up for a subscription service, and you can do your grocery shopping online, and we'll come to your home and deliver it and put it in your refrigerator for you. And we have associates that are trained that you'll know who they are, and they'll have a camera on their lapel, so that you'll know that JP Suarez is your associate. He's been 16 years with the company, and he was at your home at 2 o'clock, and you can actually either live stream it or you can record it and watch it to make sure that all I did is go open your refrigerator, put the stuff in, and walk away. And if you have something to return, you can leave it on the counter for me, and I'll pick it up and take it back to the store for you and refund you. So it's a pretty hands-on service for some customers, and there's a subscription to that, so it's not for every household. But what we find, and what I believe, and what the data are starting to show us, is that when you give the customer the choice on how they want to shop, they'll use multiple different ways of shopping. So sometimes I just want delivery. Like I said, I've got a sick kid. I don't feel like leaving the house. I don't mind paying the $10 delivery fee, and bring me the stuff because I just need to be home for a while. And then other times when I drive home, there's a stat that we saw, Walmart's within 10 miles of 90% of the households of America. When I go home in Bentonville, I think I drive by half of the Walmarts because we have a lot in Bentonville. And so it's really not inconvenient for me to pick it up at one of my stores. And so we do that a lot. And if you use our app, what we've done is with our Walmart grocery app, we allow you to check in for pickup before you actually get to the store. So I'll tell you, I'm coming to the store to pick up my order. And we use geolocation so that the associates in the store will know as I'm driving towards the store to start getting my order ready. And as I'm pulling into the parking lot, the associates are walking the product out to me. So again, what's really remarkable about that, last time I did it, I pulled into the spot and I started looking at some email, and I hear somebody knocking on the window. I thought I did something wrong. Yeah. And the guy's like, "Oh, I'm here with your stuff." Like, I need more time. I got to do some email. And it was great. And they put it in the back of my car, and I went. So we'll do it that way. And then I still shop the store like regularly. I think what we're finding is that when you give the customer the options, they'll use all 3. Maybe 2 of the 3, but they will use it depending on the occasion that they have and the reason why they have to go. But they got to trust you. They've got to trust the experience. They've got to trust the quality. They've got to trust the price. They got to blah, 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 blah. Everything that I just talked about. Because I'm not going to do it if I don't trust you to bring me great stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think it works. And what we're finding is that customers will be very loyal and will be very willing to use all the services that we offer to them.
Well, are you continue? Let's see, you have like 200-something million customers a week.
A week, yeah, about 240 million customers worldwide.
240 million customers a week in their stores.
Yeah.
And that's growing.
Yeah. Yeah. There are a lot of people coming in our stores. Mm-hmm. In the U.S. and globally, yeah, no, our traffic is growing. People are coming in. Again, shopping patterns will continue to evolve and change. Change. But customers still come in the store. But when they come in the store now, they want to know. About items. They want to find information about items, and so we've made that available through our app. So if you want customer information, if you want allergen information, if you want any other product information, you can get it online. You can just scan the shelf item and you can get it. You can also use now, we have item location in our stores. One of the things, even my wife, who's been around Walmart for 16 years like me, it's difficult for her to find items sometimes. And now she uses the item locator. So she just says, where is that? And she looks it up. And there it is. And you go walk, and it tells you if it's there. It tells you where on the shelf it is. It tells you if it's in stock. So you don't have to worry about it. We're about to test something where if you load in your shopping list, we'll route optimize your shopping through the store. We'll tell you how to shop, so you don't have to get lost. Just tell you where to go.
Yeah, tell them about where the lights go on.
We're testing that.
Where the lights go on, and the customer, walks down the aisle.
Yeah, so we're testing electronic shelf labels. So, traditionally shelf labels are paper, and you have to actually put a sticker on them and put them on the edge of the shelf. Electronic shelf labels have been around for a long time, but they've been very expensive, which has been the prohibiting factor for us putting them in our stores. Prices come down, the reliability has gone up, so we're testing electronic shelf labels. And what it's done, in addition to allowing us to be much more nimble on how we change prices and reduce the labor associated with that, is we can do other customer experiences, one of which is we can help customers shop. And so we're testing. We haven't put it in the store yet. We're testing it with a supplier right now, but we think it's going to work. Where again, if you are looking for an item or you're looking for a list, and we've got electronic shelf labels, the shelf label will activate when you're near it to tell you that's where your item is. So you don't really need to be paying much attention. You just got to walk down the aisle, and the light will pop up, and you'll put it in your basket, and you'll put it in your basket, and you'll put it in your basket. So the only downside to that is your kids putting things on your shopping list. Dad, I need a new PS3 or whatever. No, you don't. So we'll test that, and we're just, again, it's all about making it convenient and easy for customers to shop. And if you can't find the item there, we'll tell you about what options we have, and we'll deliver it to your home. And really just trying to make the shopping experience great and convenient and easy so customers can get time back. Because really what we're trading in, the commodity we're trading in, is time. We want customers to have time back, and we want to give customers their time back so that they can go do the things that they love to do, be that with their family, friends, or whatever. And so that's what we're trying to do, is this mindset of just give the customer time back.
But you're so technical. I mean, with you're probing every edge about moving forward, with technology that is you got the convergence, you got the brick and mortar, we've got digital, and now with the convenience factor, I mean, you're relentless. You're making it so easy for the customer in so many different ways to shop, and from the standpoint of time, like 11 seconds and knowing something's ready.
Yeah.
Where you're still challenging yourself, and tell us some of the things that you're doing, in the stores still. Is it just refining these existing programs right now?
Yeah, so we are trying to digitize the store as much as possible. We're trying to learn about the customer and customer behavior as much as possible. So there's plenty of things that we're doing, plenty of things that we're testing. You saw it on the video with me, this checkout with me. So really trying to eliminate checkout lines in any Walmart supercenter, because everybody is a cashier if we need them to be. They simply put on a harness and they swipe a card, and you can check out anywhere in the store. You're walking out the garden center, you're walking out the GM side or the food side of the box. You just scan the basket, and out you go. So we're testing that. We got to manage shrink as we do that, but we're testing that. We have a store here in Dallas-Fort Worth at Sam's Club now that doesn't have any cash registers. It's 100% scan and go, and we're just trying to understand how that works for our business. We'll see, but again, we're testing that. We've got automated floor cleaning. We've got automated unpacking in our DCs. We're testing a significant amount of automation around palletizing, depalletizing each picks and case picks to try to, again, improve the efficiency of our supply chain. We've got a test going on a goods-to-person test in one of our DCs internationally, where we're actually taking the shelves and moving the shelves to the person who's doing the picking, rather than having the person move to the shelf, because that's actually more efficient. So we've got robots moving shelves of product all around our DC that we're testing. We've got a test up in the Northeast in New Hampshire where we've got a version of goods to people for grocery picking where we built this automated location in New Hampshire where we'll pick grocery orders, but the robots will bring the product to the picker, and the pickers will be able to just fill the carts or fill the baskets without having to actually go on the store and shop because it's all going to be automated and brought to the.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That is something.
Yeah.
Well, you've also done such a great job in the, I'd say, the shopping experience internally where you bring the customer in, one of your great departments is your pharmacy. I mean, and it's just it's got, that independently has a great reputation about your service and your prices, there. And then you're talking also about medical. You're experimenting, I think you're in Dallas with medical.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, and because pharmacy has been just an unbelievable success for you.
Yeah, it has been for a long time, and what we believe and what we're testing with these health centers is this, what does the community need? What does the local community need? And how can Walmart use our scale and our size to advantage the consumer and to give them price and convenience and a great quality experience? And so we're testing that in Georgia. You would have seen the big healthcare center that we opened up there within one of our stores. We're testing that in the international markets as well. Up in Canada, we have a very large healthcare provider that we're working with, where we have a rehab facility and a care facility attached to one of our stores, where customers come in, they get taken care of, they do their rehab, and then they go shop if they want to, or they shop online and we'll bring it out to them. And we're just incorporating all of these features into the store because the customer is telling us that these are services that they need. And healthcare is obviously, we all know it's a big issue in the U.S. And if we can provide healthcare services and access to healthcare to more people more affordably than they could otherwise get, well, then more power to us. And so we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, well, that's just an unbelievable traffic generator.
Yeah, it's a great traffic generator.
Yeah.
It's a great brand halo. It's a great experience, again, for people who have got a sick kid or are not feeling well or need to go through rehab, and they're able to do that, also buy some groceries.
Yeah, right.
Pretty
Well, I know you're gonna get your arms around the pet business, and I always tell my wife, I said, I think women love dogs better than they love their husbands. And
with good reason.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about what you're thinking about that.
Yeah, well, we're testing a lot of things here. With all due respect to cat people are crazy about their dogs, and they seem to love them. And we tested 17 different low-touch vet services in our stores. Just wanted to understand what would happen when we put a vet clinic in our stores. And interestingly enough, everybody would say, oh yeah, it's great because your pet care business is going to go up. You're going to sell more dog food. We didn't sell that much more dog food. You know what we sold a lot more of in those stores? Prescriptions. Dogs, my dog is on 3 different medications. It's ridiculous. I'm seriously, I'm running to the pharmacy all the time because, he's run out of his, Adderall. He's very anxious. And so I got to go get him because otherwise he's very nervous, apparently, as he's sleeping all day. And so prescriptions went crazy in these stores where we had pet care. So, who'd have thunk?
You sell dog insurance?
We don't. We
Pet
sell
insurance?
cars, though.
Yeah.
We sell cars in some of our Walmarts.
That's good.
We tested that too, and that surprisingly worked. It's really interesting. Doug was asked, Doug McMillan, our CEO, was asked, what are you doing with all the extra space you have in your stores? And we're talking about extra space. We actually don't have an extra space problem. We've got more uses for the space inside of our stores than we have space. So we're constantly testing new ways to put services and experiences and offers in front of the customers, and that's where it's going. If you go to the slide that shows some of the different experiences, what we're also seeing is that customers, when they shop, they want to experience things, they want to enjoy different things, they want to have that social element to it. This was going to be towards the end, but I'll tell you, so We've been trying to figure out what customers want, and you'll like this because it's the Texas market. So we surveyed a whole bunch of customers in Texas, and we said, if you like Walmart and you're shopping, what would you like to have in the store while you're shopping? I would have bet coffee. Give me a coffee, maybe a sandwich. You know what Texas said overwhelmingly? Beer. Beer, which I think is brilliant, by the way. You know how good shopping would be? First of all, I'd never do pickup. I'd say, no, I'm going in. I need to go look. And I'd get a beer every time I'd shop and put it in a little koozie that sits there on the shopping cart. That's shopping. But I'm joking, but not, because in international, you'll see, and in some of these other places, you have wine tasting and beer tastings, and you have experiences where people are coming in and tasting and sampling and enjoying the product. You have a chain in China called Hema. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it. It's an Alibaba supermarket. And what's fascinating about it is that it looks like this. It's a very, very nice grocery store. It's got a great prepared foods section. It's fantastic. 50% of the volume goes out the back door for delivery already in the stores. They design it that way. But on the front side of the store, they've got all these great prepared foods. They've got these great grocery store, and then they've got these great restaurant seating areas that you go to. People go on dates at the Hema in China. It's the craziest thing in the world, but it's a social experience, and it's an environment where people feel like that's where I want to spend some time. And maybe I'll do some shopping, and maybe I'll grab a beer or a glass of wine, and maybe I'll go on a date, and I'll do that all in the store. And it's happening. It's not fiction. It's happening now all over the world. And this is the experiences and the social interactions that we're seeing that are happening, anchored by a store. And I think that's where a lot of retail is going.
Well, with Walmart, every conversation I've had with JP, it's always about the customer. And they work towards solutions that make it seamless for the customer to shop. And all these initiatives, there's so many that you have. They're going at the same time. How is that? What do you get together and collaborate, and to which ones do you go long on, or which one or you go short on? How's that evaluated? It's massive. It's just a massive thing.
Yeah, I'd love to tell you that it's that organized, and there's been more than a few uncomfortable Tuesdays when I wake up and I read the clips, and something has been piloted in wherever, and then I see an email from my boss two emails later saying, when were you going to tell me that, fill in the blank, you were testing that? I didn't know. And we try to empower our associates. The single most important aspect of Walmart's success is the quality of the people that we have. And so we try to hire great people, train great people, and then empower them to do what they do best, which is take care of our customers. And when we do that well, you'll get great ideas coming from everywhere, and you actually don't want to constrain that. You don't want somebody to bet the farm without knowing about it. But short of that, great, go learn, go test, go pilot, go experiment, go understand the customer better, and then tell us what you find. And so we try to create an environment that allows people to experiment and to learn and to be empowered, because me sitting in Bentonville, I'm not going to know the customer better than an associate in Grapevine who actually sees the customer every single day and says, you know what, these customers want X, and so I'm going to get that. I'll give you an example of an unfortunate story for us, because it was frustrating, and it was unfortunate for me because I happened to learn this when I was with my CEO visiting the store. We had a store up in Chicago that was neighborhood market, very, very heavily concentrated Hispanic demographic, probably 45% Hispanic, about 30% African American, and then the rest Anglo. And it was, again, it was traded very heavily for Hispanic, but we didn't trait it like that because we trait our stores based on the different demographics. And so the store was always struggling, and the store manager there decided that he needed more Hispanic goods. So he went out, he found a local supplier, he changed his assortment, and his sales started going great. And we're visiting the store, and we're looking at all this Hispanic assortment. And unfortunately, like I said, for me, the CEO says, well, where are you getting all this stuff? And he says, well, I do it on my own because you guys couldn't get it for me. I found somebody. It's great. Well done, Jorge. Thanks. And he turns around and he says, well, how does that happen, JP? My CEO says that. How does that happen, JP? I don't know, Greg. We'll make sure it doesn't happen again. We'll get him whatever he needs. But we have that. People just say, look, I got to take care of my customers, and my customers needed X, so I went to get it for them.
Yeah,
It was great. And it's great. It's part of the fun part about being in Walmart, because we get to test, we get to experiment. We tested drone delivery in an island off of the coast of Japan this year, where we actually is a little resort. A little summer resort, and we offered about 400 items for customers that they could order from the resort, and then we'd stick it on a drone and we'd fly it out to them. And we tested that all summer. I'm still waiting for the data on what actually sold. I'm pretty sure it was going to be mostly beer. And I don't know how a drone carries a 6-pack, how effective that is, but I suspect it was heavy on the beer, pretty light on everything else. But we'll see. We'll see. But we're going to test all these things. We're going to learn, and then we're going to do what the customer wants.
Well, with all this testing, you don't hear about their failures, but and JP can tell us about some of these things that they've tried, and we know that you can't be successful without failures, and you learn through failures. And so some of your adventures, were maybe from a European concept like the hypermarket.
Yep.
I remember here.
We had 5 of them here. We had one in Dallas.
A couple of them in, 300,000 or 400,000 feet. One was in Garland, one was in Arlington, and didn't work. And you played with the size of the stores. Yep. And you've come up with this right size. I know your competitor, one of the major competitors, Walmart expanded, and they expanded, and Walmart expanded, and they expanded, and Walmart expanded, and they finally expanded, and they couldn't make any money. They just overexpanded for their concept. And so you have been the leader in creating, the most successful, superstore in the world. And talk a little bit about some of these mistakes you've made and how you've gone through, because everyone here identifies with mistakes. Mm-hmm. And that you remember the most about, and made through that mistake, turned it into the greatest success, or a great success.
I mean, you mentioned the hypermarkets. Mm-hmm. We built 5 of them. They were massive stores. There is one in Arlington that's still there. It's store 1802. It's a 240,000 square foot store. It's a big store. It's ugly too. But it is an ugly. I'm sorry, it's not your center, is it? Thank God. But it's an ugly store. It's big, and it's too big. And there was a point where even for us, there was just too much space. It was too difficult for customers, to shop. It was too hard to assort. It was too hard for associates to work in. And so we realized that was the outer limit. And then we started ratcheting it back, and we right-sized between 150, 180 is about how big our stores are, and we learned from that. And then we went the other direction, and Herb, you'll remember when I was just starting as the head of Realty, we decided that we were going to launch the Express format, which is a 12,000 square foot format in small towns of 5 to 10,000 people, rural America, we thought there was this great opportunity, and there might be, but we built, in the course of 18 months, we put down 102 units across rural America, and it didn't work the way we thought it was going to. For any number of reasons, I think we misread the customer a little bit. I think we maybe misread the problem that we were trying to solve. We didn't keep the customer in the center of our thinking around that. We thought the idea would work. And it's not that it didn't work, it just didn't work to the volumes and then to the levels that we needed it to work. And we realized we've got these neighborhood markets and these super centers that crank, and then we've got these tiny little stores that we can spend a lot of energy and effort on trying to figure out how to make profitable, or we can just stop. And so we went to our leadership and we said we need to close all of the express stores, and we did. And we said, hey, you know what, going down that direction, this way, trying to do too much in a small store actually makes it very complicated. So we learned a little bit from that experience. And look, we've tested a couple of different concepts. We've got a drive concept that's just in the U.S., just in Bentonville, where it's a warehouse where we pick online grocery orders for pickup from the warehouse. It works wildly successfely in Europe, particularly France. We tested it in our market. It works okay, but I don't know that we're going to roll those out anytime soon because we've got 4,000 stores. I don't know that we need too many drive locations.
Yeah.
Now, we've tested a convenience store, as you know, in Bentonville. It's a very nice convenience store that we built, by the way. You should go visit it. No, you shouldn't. It's a convenience store. But it's a very nice convenience store. But we realized getting into the convenience and gas business that it's really hard to make money charging the prices that we charge. So we let other people do convenience.
Well, before we get into a real important aspect of your business, and that's the analytics and your data, I just want to ask one question because everybody here is wondering about, what your research is, and that's about automated vehicles. We know it's coming. How fast is it coming? How's it affecting our big parking lots? How's it affecting our shopping centers? Is there anything? I know you're really into beautifying, your lots and making it pleasant for the customer, not just it to be a sea of asphalt or concrete, but for it to be beautiful. Instead of the customer with their child coming in through the main drive, you want to have a walkway that's protected in front of the cars where, they're not in danger of any car backing into them. All these things, you and I've talked about and you're thinking about, but from the standpoint of what's going to happen with the shopper and is it going to change trips and what can you tell us about this and any idea of timing?
Yeah, so
y'all want to hear about this, don't you?
We're experimenting with autonomous vehicles ourselves. So we're actually doing some delivery with driverless vehicles, and it's point to point right now. So it's an easier line, but still we're going to be experimenting with this in a couple of markets. Understand what we can do, because again, if we can eliminate some of the difficulty of doing delivery with autonomous vehicles, it'll be a game changer. We think that autonomous vehicles are going to change profoundly the way people shop, the way people go to work, the way people, again, go out. Now, it may not change the number of cars on the road, but it may change where they are throughout the day. I think centers, Herb, you and I have talked about this. I think if you're designing a center now or you're building a center now and you're not thinking about how you're going to handle all of the autonomous vehicles or even just Ubers dropping people off who actually aren't driving themselves, you're not thinking about where the customer is going. Because what we see is the customers more and more going towards these alternative ways of getting around. And if you make it easy for somebody to get in their autonomous vehicle and go to the store, and then they jump out, or you drop the stuff in, they'll do it, or they'll send the car to go get their stuff. Autonomous vehicles, I think, are probably one of the biggest things that are going to change the way we do commerce in the course of the next 10 years. I don't think it's going to be much past that. I could be wrong, but we're testing autonomous vehicles in a number of different areas in our business, and we think the technology is getting pretty good.
That's great. Well, let's move into some of the the big game changer here, and that's data and
Yep.
analytics. And you got more information on customers than anybody other than the U.S. government and maybe China.
Don't know that that's true, but okay.
So, how do you use the analytics to curate your customers' wants and needs
Yeah.
to create a customer for life?
Yeah. So I think this is a hugely important thing. And first of all, you've got to manage and protect your customer data more than anything. It's your most important asset, and you simply can't afford to allow that data to be misused or used in a way that the customer doesn't want or trust you to do. And it is customer data that is incredibly important, that you manage and you safeguard it properly. And we spend a lot of time in my company just talking about the security around our customer data, because it is so important that we manage that trust relationship with the customer and their data critically well. And I know a lot of people like to say data is the new oil. I think that's right, it is, but just like oil, it needs to be refined, because otherwise it's just crude. And you really need to take your data and you need to manage it, you need to analyze it and get the right insights. And the way I think about data is in three areas. You can do monetization, which everybody talks about. How do you put ads in front of people? How do you make money off of your data? Personalization, so monetization, personalization, make the shopping experience relevant to me, so that you make my shopping easier because you know what I'm looking for. And then optimization, make my business more efficient because of the data that you have about how I shop, how I replenish, how things go bad, how I do markdowns. Any number of optimizing tools that we can apply our analytics to makes us a better business. I think all three of those are really important ways to think about data. Personalization is the one that is very interesting to me. I mean, I love the idea. We talked about it in the curation slide. But I love the idea of personalizing, because I really don't want, like I said, 4 million white t-shirts. I want the best ones. I want the ones with the best price. I want the ones with the best quality. I want you to help me do it. And you know me. I don't want you to assume that I'm always going to buy X t-shirt, because you should know me better than that. And so therefore, I want you to help personalize my shopping experience so you know exactly what I'm looking for, and you can help me shop. When we do personalization right, we'll be able to have customers who are in our stores, and we'll be able to tell them, hey, if last time you bought these avocados, you may also be interested in this. And we'll know that, or I should say we'll know. We're able to know with a high degree of certainty that they'll probably buy other things too if they bought this with their shopping patterns and their shopping behaviors. And so we can really personalize the shopping experience without being creepy, but we can still learn and help the customer shop easier. I use these slides because I think it's really fascinating. So look at the example. We searched Thanksgiving decorations, 25 pages of results. Yet, it doesn't matter that there's 25 pages of results for it, because 70% of shoppers don't leave the first page. 92% of traffic on Google is from the first page. First 3 product placements in Amazon get 64% of the hits. First 3 placements. So it's on the first page, on the first line. That's how bored we get. By the time, imagine if you get to page 25. Nobody does. Nobody. And so curation is important, but curation has to be informed by the customer. And you've got to have that understanding of this customer wants this item this way, as opposed to Herb, who might like it, a different size or a different color or a different style.
Or a different discount.
Or a different discount, So all of that is where personalization comes in and really makes a shopping experience different and ideal for the customer. And the customer appreciates it without it being creepy. Because you can go to the creepy or the annoying. How many times have you searched for something and all of a sudden you keep getting reminded of this thing? You're like, but I already bought it. Like, why do you keep telling me about it? I already bought it. That's bad personalization or monetization. But if you get those things, I think if you get those things right, there's obviously tremendous power in the data that we have. And then it's also about running our business better. I mean, optimization is not to be understated. If we can reduce the cost to move our products from our warehouses to our customers' homes through any channel that we want to deliver in, we're going to be very competitive. Mm-hmm. But there's tremendous opportunity for us to take costs out of our network through automation, through optimization, through efficiency measures. And the more we drive that supply chain efficiency, the better we get as a company.
With technology and the customer in the store, You've moved toward optical recognition of the customer, haven't you?
And also, in China, we do that.
And also other things that I haven't even heard about determining a person's attitude at that time that they're shopping.
Yes.
Or whether they like that merchandise the way it's presented on the shelf, or if they reject it. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because I thought that was phenomenal.
So China is a fascinating place. China, they use facial recognition all over the place for shopping, and so we use it in our stores, and customers can shop, and we recognize the customer, we recognize the payment platform, and so the customer doesn't really need to even transact with us. They can just go through the till, and we recognize them, and they go on. Mm-hmm. And so it's a pretty efficient place. It was fascinating. I was in China recently, and maybe 6 months ago, and I was in a Sam's Club there. We have a very nice Sam's Club in Shenzhen. I went to buy a bottle of wine that just so happened to be wine that I was going to bring back on the plane, and I only had cash. I only had renminbi on me. I was expecting the Chinese army to come in because I brought the system to a halt because I actually paid with cash. And there was 2 levels of key clicks that you needed to open up the cash register because nobody had opened it up for 2 days. I mean, it was crazy. Just because I wanted to buy a bottle of wine for cash. Yeah. It was crazy. So the adoption rate there is pretty phenomenal. Mm-hmm. Every market's going to be different on how fast we can get adoption. What you're talking about is something that we're experimenting with, and we're looking at whether or not we can use customer sentiment. So it's not facial recognition, but customer mood, attitude, dwell time, other customer attributes, travel patterns to determine how effective our merchandising is inside the store. And we don't need to identify the customer individually to be able to do that, but I can tell if you're not spending enough time, how you're reacting to product, how well and how effective my merchandising is, and then I can make changes to make it more effective, to make sure that, that assortment or that layout may not be exactly right, or that product may not be right, and I don't have to wait to start marking it down. I can start doing stuff now. We're also testing a thing called dynamic markdowns, where we try to change the markdown cadence and percentages to more precisely determine how much markdown do we have to take to get the customer to buy it, versus just doing a 25, 50, 75% off. But if I could, if I could avoid having to do those and instead do 22% off or 48% off, I can actually make a lot of money. And we can do that with some of the AI that we have that helps us figure out what the sell-through will be at various price points with these dynamic markdowns. And so we're testing that in a number of stores in our international markets and seeing what do the data tell us about how efficient we can be about managing our markdowns. Again, that's in that optimization bucket. Mm-hmm. If I can optimize my spend there, I can take that money and invest back in price or experience or assortment or the other things that the customer wants.
Well, your technology is from managing the store, even just looking at store comps, and you might find that some product's not selling, and instantly, you can look and find out that, well, there was a mistake made, and that product that wasn't selling somehow got omitted and wasn't put on the shelf.
Yeah, our suppliers seem to know that sooner than us. Uh-huh. But yes, we can find that. We can use all sorts of imagery and intelligence in our stores to figure out what our on shelf is. Mm-hmm. You would have seen about us testing robots where we can actually take a robot and they'll scan the aisle for outs. So we actually have our robots now in stores looking at our shelves and finding outs, and then putting in a pick list for our associates to go pick the item in the back room and bring it out. So we don't have to have associates there figuring it out. We don't have to have associates trying to find what we call plugged modulars, where somebody has expanded a facing of an item because it was out. And instead we say, no, there should be only one facing of the underarm deodorant, and therefore you need to bring this other flavor out and bring the other flavor out. And we can do all that stuff through automation and intelligence that we have, and again, improve the efficiency of it. We have a thing called Fast Sorter in the back of about 1,200 of our stores that actually sorts product that comes out of our trucks by aisle, by priority, based on in-stock, so that when we're unloading a truck, instead of having to unload it, put it in a bin, and then wait for somebody to do a pick list, when it comes off the truck, if it's already out of stock, it goes to the first location, and our associates take those and bring it right out to the floor and replenish, so that we're not out of stock for the item, and we don't need anybody to tell us that we're waiting on the item, because it's going to be put on the first position, and that's the one that always gets replenished first, because those are the out of stocks. And so we have all this simple automation that's helping us get better in our stores to create a good experience for our customers.
How's all that information, is that communicated, from your computer, brain trust, and they're feeding back the store manager that information, or does a lot of information, come from the manager back?
It's managed at the store level, where we have this technology. It's managed at the store level, and the store knows, what they're doing and what the condition of the store is. So, but it's good, because again, a customer, if you don't have it when they want it and how they want it, they'll go online.
Well, with 56% of your earnings, I think, coming from your grocery, you guys have made so much headway in streamlining that business and really becoming a great grocer in the world. What is the magic behind Walmart being such a great grocer powerhouse? Is it just all this technology or is it you've thought through every problem, and you're sourcing all your products closer to the store, where there's not storage time and it's fresher? I know there's so many different things. And then I want you to get into just the soft goods. That's where you came from. That was your breadbasket when you started. And what's changing in the overall soft goods and hard goods in the store?
So on grocery, we are obviously a very big grocer. The view from us, as I said earlier, is we believe that food-led grocery is the future of retail. And so if you're going to be food-led, you've got to be credible in the food space. And over the last 5 years, we have invested in and committed to being a food-led, food-driven retailer with great quality and great sourcing and great merchandising in these categories. We have great buyers. We are, relentlessly focused on the quality of the product that we get with price. It's not just price, it's price and quality in our fresh offer. We've improved our fresh meat. You can now find prime, believe it or not, in some Walmart stores. You can find prime cuts of meat, of Angus, in our stores, and it's good. It's legitimately good. And we're investing in quality, investing in sourcing closer to our customers. So we're working with local farmers. We're doing everything that we can in order to, again, put great product in front of our customers at a great price. And it starts with fresh, because if you don't have any credibility in fresh, you're not going to have any credibility in the rest of your space. And again, the customer's not going to have a reason to come into your box. So we know that this is absolutely critical for us to win and win decisively in food. And so we're investing a lot in supply chain, improving the efficiency from farm to table, and the time that stuff dwells in our warehouses. We're improving that dramatically so that customer can enjoy the product for longer periods of time. Again, we're driving the standards of our meat to a much higher standard so that you can rely on the flavor and the taste of what you're going to get. We're expanding the assortment. We're doing more ethnic product in our stores. We're doing more locally relevant products. So store manager in Chicago doesn't have to go find it all on his own. We can actually source it and buy at our leverage and our scale and then get it to the stores where it matters. So we're doing all these things. It's just painstaking retail work, but we know that food is critical for us to get right. And then, and then the GM side, what we're doing on the GM side, I think the GM merchants they've been brilliant. I mean, the Walmart quality of our apparel and our home product has improved dramatically. We've simplified the range, we've simplified the offer, and we've made it, again, easy for customers to come in and grab stuff. And I can tell you that my very, very scientific survey of this was when my 22-year-old daughter actually came home and she was wearing something from Walmart. And she said, "Dad, I bought these at Walmart. They're actually good." All right. I know we're doing something right then, because a 22-year-old who's shopping on my credit card and is going to Walmart, that's a good thing.
Well, Dallas, DFW is your biggest market.
Yeah.
And, what is next here? What's next for DFW? We got about 5 minutes left because JP's got to catch a plane, so we're going to be out here at 9:20 sharp. And what's next for us here? And at the same time, can you incorporate in that? What's the next big thing?
So, look, Dallas-Fort Worth is a hugely important market for us. We do extremely well here. We're investing, I think, near $150 million in remodels and renovations in our stores here over the next few years. So, hugely important, and we'll continue to make those investments. We'll continue to work on improving the stores. We'll add grocery pickup if it doesn't exist in the stores. We'll add towers. We'll add delivery. We're going to continue to expand what the offers are here, and then we'll see what else we want to test. We've got a couple of other interesting tests going on with how we get customers their groceries or their GM. So, look, Dallas has been a great market. I think we can't ever underestimate how important it is to have 28% share, and what a privilege that is, that the customer trusts us the way they do, and so we're going to guard it pretty jealously, because it is such an incredibly important market for us. That being said, what's the next best thing? The next big idea? I tell you, it's beer in the stores. It's growler bars. Growler bars, man, just imagine a growler bar when you're shopping. It's amazing. I mean, I want to shop right now. No, you know what, actually, though, all joking aside, continuing to evolve the things, a lot of the things, Herb, that you guys work on at Weitzman, is the experience of the overall shopping. So it's incorporating, Bob, like I heard you say, like indoor and outdoor. It's incorporating how people have a chance to relax while they're doing life. We're testing. We talked to Starbucks, and they've agreed to build a coffee shop in one of our stores out west that's got a dog park out front. And it's going to give a place for people to go run their dogs and medicate them and then drink coffee. And it's phenomenal. People love it, So, I mean, I think, what the next big idea is? Coffee, dog parks, and beer to watch the dog. It's perfect. But, I mean, like, just creating those experiences and those interactions for customers so that they can live life easier and better is what we're trying to do.
Well, let's give a great hand to JP. And, this guy's fingerprints are on their international operation. Fingerprints are on their technology in all the stores. And his fingerprints are on thousands of stores that he's put in. And I say we are very, very lucky to have him with us today. And I want to thank you personally for being with us, JP.
Thank you, Herb. It's been a
Thank you so
pleasure.
much.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Thank you.